Make sure I got a few things muted here.
All right. Oh, I already clicked the button.
Let's just rock and roll, bro.
We're live with a very unorganized episode of the Square Table Degenerates. Today we welcome to the show Cleveland's own newscaster and radio legend, Mr. Mark Schwab. How are you today, sir?
Legend, man. Feeling generous today, bro.
Well, you've been doing it for over 30 years or 20, 30 years. That makes you a legend, though. I mean, if you think back to, it's a long time.
30 years this fall, actually. I started as an intern, which I'll count that because that's practically working, in like September of 95 or something. And it's been 30 years. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. That's wild.
That's crazy, man. So the internet does tell me you're a Rocky River boy. Were you born at Fairview Hospital?
No, so we moved actually to the Cleveland area when I was 8 years old. I was born down in Middletown, Ohio,
okay,
which is between Dayton and Cincinnati. And then we moved up here when I was 8, lived in Brunswick for like a year, and then we moved to River. So I say I was born in Middletown. I grew up in Rocky River. But I certainly have been to Fairview Hospital my share of times.
What is your favorite hospital out of this area? Out of all the big ones like Metro, Fairview, all the other ones? I mean, is it pretty much Fairview? What do you think?
My wife is a clinic nurse, so I actually have some insight. Main campus is hard to beat.
I was just going to ask you about the main campus. I didn't know your wife was a nurse, man. That's crazy. So you've been over there. The campus, and my brother works over there too, which is kind of funny. I just thought about that. But the main campus is like one of those things. You get your specialty care there, but man, that cancer center is there, dude. And my goodness, I lost a couple relatives up in that piece, man. It's so it's one of those things, man. It's now this is a hard right, but has your wife ever worked on like any of the sheiks coming over, like landing their planes at Hopkins and all that, or what's the deal?
No, right now she is actually in nursing education. She did her share of bedside though, and she actually she didn't work on any sheiks, but she was an Army nurse, and she did do 7 months over in the sandbox where she had to take care of some bad guys over there.
Okay.
She did some time that way, but did not have to take care of any sheiks at that point. She was bedside for a while at the clinic, and then shifted to nursing education about 5 years ago. So.
And well, let's touch on was she in Iraq, Afghanistan? Where was she at?
She was in Iraq. Actually, my brother-in-law was in Iraq. He did 3 tours. He did 2 in Iraq and 1 in Afghanistan. But my wife only did the 1. We were engaged then. And she was supposed to be there 6, but her relief got hung up by a month, so it turned into a 7-month tour of duty.
What time frame was this?
She was there in around 07, 08. I think it was around 08 because we got married in 09.
Okay.
So I believe she would have deployed out of Fort Polk down in Louisiana. I think it was in May of 08. And I think she got back sometime around Christmas in 08.
Okay. So do you get the military discounts and stuff when she goes to the Applebee's for Veterans Day? I mean, they just assume you're a vet too. What's going on?
She hits those up when they're available to her. I don't really coattail that. I do get a nice USAA membership out of it.
I had USAA for my car insurance, man, and then after that incident in Westlake with where I was, I got charged with something, they dropped me. I don't like USAA no more. I can't speak good of these guys. How are you gonna drop a vet, man? Like
I don't know. They've been good. They've been good to us. I got vets all over my family. I'm one of the few that did not serve. I feel like a hack.
Well, coming out of high school, did you think of the service? I mean, what was when you were coming out? You went to Rock River,
yeah.
I'm assuming.
I did go
to high school. Were you dead set on a certain thing? Were you still uncertain? What was your
I knew I wanted to do this since like junior high school. My dad was a Marine, like diehard Marine. Dad fought in Korea, but my uncle, his little brother, fought in Vietnam.
Okay.
Briefly a POW.
Oh.
My dad saw some things, the way things were going. He certainly didn't discourage me from joining the armed forces, but he said, I'm not going to like lean on you to do it. Because, dads can kind of be neutral or they can really lean on you. He just stayed neutral. So I didn't, honestly, I feel like an idiot. I have like few regrets in life. One of them is that I did not join the Marines. But out of high school, I was a terrible student. So I went to Tri-C because sometimes you need like 13th and 14th grade, and I actually sucked at that too because I had to do like math and stuff. So I ended up going to a trade school. and as for broadcasting. It's now the Ohio Media School, but when I was there, it was the Ohio Center for Broadcasting.
Okay.
And so I did that, and I did that. I don't know. I got into the radio then around 95. So that was right out of high school. I just didn't pursue it. I was kind of a wimp. I was kind of a wuss. I was kind of a dummy, and I probably should have gone for it and enlisted.
Yeah, it worked out okay for you. But you went to did you go Tri-C West or Tri-C Metro? Which one did you go to?
West. I was at Parma, and I was only like part-time. I don't know why I did that, because I wasn't even. I'm like, I'll do this and I'll transfer to Cleveland State because they have communications, and I kept getting bad grades in math and stuff that had nothing to do with what I do for a living. And it was actually my dad who seen the ads for the broadcasting shop and dragged me over there and signed me up, and you guys have been stuck with me ever since.
That's awesome, man. I did Tri-C, and I went to Kent for the rest of it. I didn't Tri-C West is a nice little campus. I went there a little older. I was like 23 when I started out there. But I did like 2.5 years out at Tri-C. Now, OCB, there was this, my friend's brother, his name's Victor Cortez. Do you remember that name at all?
I do not.
Dang it. Because he interned on the Trib Show a while back, and then he went to HK. He passed away about 15 years ago, but Marty Allen knows him. Marty Allen knows who he is, but yeah, good dude, real good dude. Shouts out to Vic, man, if you're listening from up above. All right, so growing up, like, what were your first memories of Cleveland sports? Like, what first really got you into it? Were you old enough to remember, like, Red Right 88?
All right. So you got to remember, we moved here when I was 8 in like January of 1983. So by then, like, I was into sports, but I was a Bengals fan. I actually, full disclosure, I am still a Bengals fan. I've never left it. So my first like sports memories are of the Bengals. My first Cleveland sports memories, bad Indians teams, Joe Carter trade, and 85 Browns. Bernie, basically that Miami playoff game is like my first real clear Cleveland Browns sports memory. When I was, like 83, 84, you know, when you're a kid, you're doing stuff like we did Taekwondo or karate, and they had us at a Cavs game doing the halftime show, you know, where it's like the youth karate and you're doing your little thing. That was my first Cavs thing. But I really don't remember much of the team until, what was the last year they wore all orange? Was that 85 or 86?
I want to say it was 84, 85. Yeah, because I first got into it. That you've mentioned that 85 season. That was the first year I remember. Well, the first Super Bowl I remember for NFL was the Montana Marino one, and then I watched football after that. So I remember that 85 Brown season as well. But them Cavs teams, man, they world beat, because I grew up in Chicago for 5 years from 82 to 87. And then we moved back to Cleveland. It was always Cleveland. I was always a Cleveland fan because like both my parents are from here, and everything I learned, I just learned from my dad about Cleveland sports. So, you know, they would just all just tell me world be free, and that was the only Cavs that we knew was any good, and anybody else just sucked. And then once that Ted Steffian trade where they traded away a bunch of draft picks and they gave us a bonus pick. I mean, that's how bad we were, right? My God, the 80s were, until the Browns hit it, started getting to the playoffs, the 80s were just so sad, really.
The Cavs, I kind of remember, I guess my first Cavs memory, for some reason, I remember them wearing all orange, but it was really like the Doherty, Price, Harper team. You know, I certainly remember the drive, the fumble. I remember sitting in my mom's, the family room at my mom's and dad's place when Rich Carlos's kick went over the goalpost. I'm like, that's not good. And then they're like, good. I'm like, what? I certainly remember that. I don't remember Red Right 88 because I don't think I wasn't here, but I certainly remember the fumble. I remember all those things. Yeah, it was late 80s. I still remember the reaction when they traded Harper. I went to school the next day. There was a group of us that were sports fans. We're all like, you know, why is it like you remember that? Like 10-year-olds knew that trade sucked. What were we doing?
I had hope for Danny Ferry, though. I really liked Danny Ferry out of Duke. I thought Danny Ferry was going to be something good. I mean, that was going to be on Harper's level, but yeah, that didn't work out too well, man. But my goodness, what a bunch of crazy trades. But then them Browns teams, though, it's kind of like after a while, it's like losing a relative or a dog every year, right? I mean, it's just death. I mean, did these 80s, did that shape your worldview? I mean, because I was a kid, that really got to me. I really hated the fact that these Cleveland teams never won anything and they always choked and shit. That stuck with me for a long time. Are you the same way?
Yeah. I mean, okay. So go through. I always tell people this. I'm a Cleveland sports fan. and a Bengals fan. Now, take all of the crap that you get with being a Cleveland sports fan and add 3 Super Bowl losses, 2 of them in devastating fashion in the final minute, one of them 34 seconds, one about a minute and a half left. That was just a few years ago. Take all of the crap of Cleveland sports fan and stack 3 Super Bowl losses on top of it. Yes, the 80s were very formative for me as a sports fan. Absolutely. I still hate the San Francisco 49ers to this day. I have a 4 horsemen of evil in sports: the New York Yankees, the team up north, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the San Francisco 49ers. And people will be like, why do you hate the Niners? I'm like, Bengals fan of the 80s, just listen to me. We don't like them. So it absolutely formed that. I became a Cavs fan. And I was kind of an Indians fan. Like when I moved here, obviously I was a Reds fan. I still like the Reds. You grew up, I was born in 74. I always say, if you were born in the mid 70s, early 70s in Cincinnati, Ohio, your first 4 words are Mom, Dad, Rose, and Bench. You don't even know what Rose and Bench really are, but you know those words, you know those names. But it was somewhere around past the 80s. Of course, I liked the Indians. They would have an interleague play. It was cool to have an American League team and a National League team, and they couldn't get the Reds on up here, so I watched the Indians on 43, where I am now. But somewhere around 03, it was after the Robbie trade, and they blew it up. The Indians were playing the Reds, and I realized I was rooting for the Indians to win. This was a huge moment in my life. Like, imagine you all of a sudden rooting against one of your favorite teams, and you're like, wait, whoa, hold on. And that's where I realized, I guess I'm an Indians fan now, and I'm still a Reds fan, but I root for the Indians. Never had that with the Bengals and Browns, and if people don't like me because of that, sorry. I would say the worst thing you can say about me is born in another part of Ohio. I'll take it.
Right. It's funny how Cincinnati's so far south, and it's still the same state, but you got like 3 other football teams that are closer than the Bengals. Isn't that wild?
It is.
Yeah. The Lions, Steelers, and whatchamacallit, Bills up there, and it's still 4 hours to get to Cincinnati. That's wild. What do you think of that new stadium down there? Do you think that's legit? It's not a bad little spot. It's Cincinnati, because we used to go to before the Super Bowl, the Rams Super Bowl there. We used to go down there every year because it was a cheap roadie because the Bengals sucked. Mm-hmm. So we would go down there. Man, I noticed that, and this is just like, from 2018 on, I noticed that area around the stadium and where I used to stay is getting a little, I don't maybe run down. I don't want to say run down, but like there was more garbage than we remember before. Is it the Browns are notoriously cheap. They're cheaper than Dolan's. We'll get into Dolan's cheapness in a second, but what's your take on the area itself down there?
So I don't get down there too much, and a lot of times when I am down there, I'm working, like covering the Browns Bengals. So I honestly, the hangout there, I think I've been out to get something to eat there like one time in the last few years. It was fine. It's just when you're working, right? Like it's go down, cover a game, shoot your stand-ups, get in, get out, hurry up, get back, because you got to edit on the drive home. So I can't really speak to. I know I've never. Of course, I've driven through it when you're parking or getting in and out. I always thought it was all right. I don't remember thinking anything crazy about it, like it was terrible or anything. It reminded me a little bit, I think they call it the bank, like the river bank. Like up here, we have the flats. Mm-hmm. I think that's what they call it, but I don't remember having like a bad opinion of it or anything.
Okay. Yeah, it's still a good spot. It's just compared to, I don't know. Maybe it was just a spot we stayed at. The one hotel, it's crazy. Well, I remember the funny story about that. It was the lockdown year. I want to say it was 2021. And me, Steve, and Mayo, and a couple other guys that were down in the Hooters right across the river in Kentucky. And Mark, I tell you, Schwab, these were some of the dumbest people I've ever met in my life. God bless them. They were trying, but they must have just hired these girls off of the street because they were messing up the orders and everything. And this little short guy, about 5'3", gets on the microphone and goes, "Everybody in the front right now!" And just starts yelling at all these poor 18 and 19-year-old Hooters waitresses right in front of the whole staff. Like, what is going on here? And then the guy comes back and he serves the food. I'm like, dude, I come here. I don't care about the food. I'm here to see the chicks. Like, leave. Like, what are you doing? They try to make it small talk, and that place got to be closed by now. There's no way they're still open, man.
There's not many Hooters around anymore. We had 3 up here. They're all gone.
Yeah, we used to have the Flats, Perman, and Menor. Menor was the last to go, man. And one of the Flats was legit. That Flats East Bank, man. Did you back in the 90s? Were you throwing down there? Did you kick it in the East Bank there? But back when it was heyday?
Yeah, we did. We had a routine, my friends and I, in the Flats. We had a place to go every single night, except I think Wednesday. And the Flats was involved in like at least 2 or 3 of those. But we Beach Club on Thursday night, Trilogy on Friday night. Sometimes we went to Fagan. Sometimes we'd bounce around other places around there. But Beach Club on Thursday night, it was ladies' night. It was a staple for us. And then basement and trilogy on Friday nights. And then we started going to the basement kind of whenever. That became our go-to bar down there.
I did the basement a couple times. I would do trilogy on Sunday nights for some reason. I don't know why Sunday nights will still stick out, but it was like $5 to get in, and then you could just do whatever. Because I was born in '76. So I'm like a couple years younger than you, but man, that was everywhere. That was man. I mean, I kind of wish I was in my 20s. I mean, I don't want to wish I was older, but I mean, like being in your 20s in the flats in the 90s is legit, man. It was a fun fucking time, dude.
It was a great time. Everyone looks back at those wherever the people that were 20-something-year-old in the 70s, whatever they have their. If you were in Cleveland in the 20s, you were in your 20s in the flats. It was absolutely a core part of your memories to this day. Remember the Paninis was open down there, and you'd go in there just all boozed up, and you'd get there and you'd convince yourself that the bread's gonna soak it up, and you feel better. Nah, just eating drunk food, but it was great.
We used to do that on St. Patrick's Day. We'd hit the East Bank. We start out at the one place would open like 5:30. I think it was Dick's Last Resort would open like 5:30. They would always have like a green underwear contest. And you see some titties and shit. And then we'd always end up at I remember I was broke. I think it was 2003 maybe. It was one of the last years we went down there. And we was at the whatever the titty bar was in the corner there, Tiffany's, I think. And this guy, and they were packed. And I only had like $4 on me. And they had dollar drafts. I was like, I get 7 beers for me and my buddies. And I was like pretending like look for my, it's like I don't know where it's at. And then the guy got distracted, and I just took the beers and walked off. I didn't even pay for those beers. So if you're out there watching this, that bartender, I owe you like $10 for them beers back in 03. The days, man, the days. How did you first hook up with Triv? You said you were like an intern, right? Is that how it started? Was it right out of OCB?
It was when I was in OCB. Marty Allen, who you mentioned already, and actually I'm going to see tomorrow. I haven't worked with Marty in a million years. We're both calling the pickle in the land thing tomorrow on the rock. Nice. Nice. Marty hired me as an intern. I was only in the station. I'd been at the school for like a month or two. And we were just talking about this yesterday or today even. I talked to Marty. It was wild. So my first like 3 months in talk radio as an intern on the Triv show, which at the time was 6 to 11. So he'd go 5 hours. And there were times he would even go later because my first few months, O.J. Simpson was found not guilty. The Indians went to the World Series, and the Browns announced they were moving to Baltimore. Any one of those 3 events can carry you for like 6 months in talk radio. All 3 happened in succession. It was the craziest time I have ever experienced talk radio, and it was the first 5-6 months of my broadcasting career. I will never forget some of those experiences, some of those nights. Just an incredible, and historic time in Cleveland, especially when you factor in all the weirdness of the Browns moving.
What because I was in 95 is one of the most pivotal years. I mean, not only because I graduated high school, but man, that first pennant in my lifetime, then the Browns moving, like you said, and then I went to basic training. I was like, I was going down to basic training, and they had just announced the move. They literally just announced it, and we had no clue what was going on the whole time. The only news we could get was like the guys in the laundry room. It was like because I was Air Force, we get our uniforms dry cleaned. It is what it is. But we go into the dry cleaners there, and there was some Mexican dudes that worked there, and they would tell us about what was going on in the sports world, and that was the only news we get, man. And that was because I remember like the Buccaneers are going to move here, and they're going to bring a team from here. It was every day there was a new thing going on, man. My goodness.
Yeah. There were so many rumors, so much speculation. It was obviously wild. And then once we actually got the agreement that the Cleveland, I think they announced it would be an expansion team or we'd get a team. Right. I can't remember if they right away had committed it would be an expansion team or just some other team. Once we got that and we got a little clarity, then it gave you something to kind of work on, like build on and talk about and think about. But you're right. In the early days of that, man, it was the Wild West of information.
Crazy, right? Well, like, and then, man, those, I got to get bored. I remember you from the Schwab in the lobby stuff. When they were like, Schwab in the lobby. Did you get to travel a lot in the early days? Was that just in the spring for the tribe? What was the deal with travel?
When I was on the Indians beat, which was 2000 through the 09 season. So I did 10 seasons, which I can't believe. I traveled for spring training. I was there the whole time. I traveled. I did to some all-star, went to some all-star games. I went to some playoff games, but I didn't like regular road games. I didn't go to. By my last 2-3 years there, like '07, I did not travel for the playoffs. Quit going to the all-star game around '05. I mean, it's remember the economy then, budgets and everything. But my one big travel was spring training every year because you had to be there to cover me, and the internet was in its infancy.
Right.
So I was there like 6.5 weeks. Honestly, that got old. You were out of the weather, but I mean, I spent nine of those 10 years in Winter Haven. Winter Haven is like Alabama. It just happens to be in Florida. It's fine. I don't mean that but it's not like an exotic place is what I'm getting at. You know what I mean? It's not like you were next to Disney or something. You could get there. But now the last year on the beat was '09 for me. It was the first year in Goodyear. I didn't want to go home. I love Arizona. Arizona is gorgeous. That was one I was like, I remember driving to the airport. We'd rent us a house. They did houses for us. They did rent a house. I don't know why instead of a hotel. And I'm used to being like in Winter Haven. It was like a 30-minute drive from where we stayed to the park, and it was like it did not look like Florida. It was not great areas. It was just like a drive. It's fine. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying there was nothing about it. The drive to Arizona from where we stayed to the ballpark, there's this little thing called the Australia Mountains. And it's great for hiking. It's like, I think it's a state park or it's a state park type of place. Man, for 6.5 weeks, I drove to work like, just couldn't believe it. It never got old. And I remember driving to work that last day. I'm like, I don't want to go home. We almost moved to Arizona when I was a kid. And then, so to get 7 weeks out there was phenomenal. So that was that I really loved, was going to Arizona for spring training. And if there's, baseball fans listen to this, Guardians fans that have ever thought about spring training, I mean, if you're at all into like any kind of outdoor stuff, go to Arizona, man. It is so unique. It's so different than what we have in Ohio. It's so different than Florida. If you ever went down to Winter Haven, just go. It's awesome.
I was in Arizona for 10 months with the Guard down in Phoenix in '07. Oh, I love it. I love it, man. I drove everywhere down there. And if you ever think like, I'm going to miss Cleveland, man, they got Browns, Packers bars everywhere down that bitch. Mm-hmm. The bars were even, I would say some of the bars down there were even better than the ones up here we go watch the games at. That's how badass it was. It was, and it's funny, man. We have three glaring things in common right now.
Okay.
One, Arizona is probably the only place I ever thought of leaving because I fought to stay and the orders ran out and that was it. So we both contemplated leaving this area for Arizona. We both got married in '09 and we both live in North Olmsted, I think.
Oh, you live in North Olmsted?
Yeah, I'm on Maple Ridge, right down the road.
My kid goes to school on that street.
No way.
Yeah, I'm on that street literally every day, picking them up and dropping them off.
Oh my goodness, you drove by the house the other day then. Heck yeah, we got to go to the drug mart and get some breakfast or something, buddy.
Drug mart has everything. Drug mart's it's completely unrelated to sports. Drug mart is the most remarkable store ever. It is the only place I've ever been to at it was either the night before Thanksgiving or Christmas Eve. I think it was Christmas Eve. It was like 9:00 at night at Christmas Eve. We had a kitchen sink clog, and I went in there and bought a plumber's wrench. Where else do you go in at like 9:00 at night on Christmas Eve and can buy a plumber's wrench and it's a drugstore?
It's beautiful. I go to Drug Mart probably 3-4 times a week at least. I got a funny story about Drug Mart, man. Back in 1995, I was still as a senior in high school and I was doing security guard work for this company called Whack and Hut. And at the time they had somebody at the Drug Mart sitting in the lobby, and your job was to, if anybody had a return, you'd sign the thing and it'd say take it to the back, but otherwise you're just being basically a passenger standing around, right? So I was standing around, and when you walk in the window, there's that one big picture window. So I would just, because we got the exit door here and the entrance door here. So I would stand right there in that thing. And I would just be bored. I was bouncing up against the glass. And I went like this. I'm like, boom. I bounced up against the glass really hard. My shoulder hit it and it shattered all the way up. And nobody saw it. I just looked around. I was like, and my shift ended. I didn't say nothing. The next day, a guy was like, did you see anything? He's like, no, I just assumed a cart hit it. So if you're out there and you're watching from Drug Bar back in 95, that window was on me. And also,
the beer guy, you're spilling all the beans here.
Well, Travelers Grill across the street too. Back in 2017, when the Tribe got eliminated from the playoffs, I opened the door really hard, and man, that bitch, the whole thing shattered, and the glass fell out. I gave the guy my number. I told him, hey, email me. I didn't go back to Travelers for like a year and a half. I never heard nothing. Never heard nothing about that. That's probably $500 in window damage I got away with scot-free, man. Just 2 blocks from your house. That's
breaking
amazing.
windows, stealing beers, man. You get away with everything.
All right. Hold on, I gotta get to this is great. All right, so we got to talk about 2016, man. Where were you when you were watching Game 7 for the Cavs, and what was the aftermath of your party? What was going on?
I was actually at the game.
Oh, nice.
It was I did normally. Okay, so you probably remember the name Tony Zarella. Tony worked here for many years as sports director. He left a few years ago. So Tony would normally be the one going to all the games because it made sense to have somebody there and then somebody back here in shop because you're kind of anchoring and tossing and things like that. But for that Game 7, they wanted to send everybody. So they sent both me and Tony. It was the only playoff game I got to of that run. And it was a great game. So I remember exactly where we were, of course. The auxiliary press for that game was a behind the basket seat all the way up into the rafters. That's just where they had us. And so I watched the first 3 quarters, and then normally I am, no matter what game I'm covering, I will wait till the game ends, and then I will go down to the media section. I'm one of the few reporters that do that. Like at Browns, people think I'm nuts. I will stay to the game's end. Baseball, I will stay to the game's end, and then I'll go down. There's always enough time. For some reason, that day, I'm like, I need to get down there. I just really wanted to get in place. I wasn't with Tony. I needed to link up, talk about our coverage, what we were doing. So I left after the 3rd quarter, and the 4th quarter, I didn't get to see as much because the monitor is just an auxiliary press. I don't know. It wasn't timed right. So I didn't have the best view of everything, but I did get to see it on time delayed monitors. And of course, we all know how it ended. And normally the hard and fast rule is no cheering. You don't cheer. And that's the one time I broke that rule. And there were a few of us from Cleveland that cut it loose a little bit. And I remember there was some writer, and I think he had to be from the Bay Area. He's like, well, we're cheering now. I'm like, you know what, dude? You have seen the Giants win World Series. You've seen the Niners win Super Bowls. You've seen the Raiders. You've seen the Warriors win it last year. You've seen all these things. Nobody from my town has ever seen a damn bit of nothing. Yes, we are going to cheer just a little bit. There's going to be a little bit of whoop, and then we're going to get to work. But you were, damn near crying at that point because, anyone watching this knows what that meant and what those moments when it actually, the thing I couldn't get past when the game ended and there wasn't another game. We were so used to being up, but you have to go win this next round or win this next game or win this next quarter or win this next possession. It was never actually over until we had lost.
Yeah.
And that was the part for me that I was driving. We finally went through all the stuff and we were in the car and we were going back to the hotel hours later. And I kept thinking there's no other game. We don't have to go play. It's done. It's over. Because you know this feeling. It's not over until we lose. Right?
Oh yeah.
So when you actually win the last game of the year and you never actually win it, and it's like your head is spinning. I couldn't believe it. And that night I remember there were 4 of us in the car. It was me and Tony, and we had 2 photogs with us. And we're driving back to the hotel. And this was the first time we had actually been able to just dive into Twitter because we were doing all of our hits and coverage and stuff like that. And just reading some of the stories going on the tweets from back home. We were all just trading things we were reading and dying laughing. It was phenomenal nights. And then we went back to the hotel, and the bar had stayed open a little bit longer for us because there were Cleveland people there. And then we got up in the morning and flew back to town.
Oh, nice, man. I was at the casino, the Jack Casino, watching with 8 other billion people. I was buying beers 12 at a time. I hooked it up, man. I got a room down there at the Stover, whatever the hell, Stover Tower State Plaza Hotel, whatever the hell it's called now. And I got, I got a Fit the Crown. I got a quarter ounce of weed. I got a case of beer. I went all out. I must have spent $300-400 in it. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't really remember much of the end because I was pretty drunk. But man, afterwards, I just remember walking out in front of the thing, look at the billboard. I just sat in the high-fiving. It was just overwhelmed. I just sat there, just looked at the billboard, just I can't remember. I can't remember if I was just sat there. It must have been an hour, 2 hours. I mean, I was drunk, so probably 15 minutes. But my God, it was what a night, right? What a fucking night.
I still can't believe like there were stories that the bars ran out of booze.
They did run out of booze.
Like, I didn't know that was possible. You walk into any bar, look at the back. There's tons of, but
well, you got to think too, Mark. It was a road game, so everybody was down there watching it. So like they didn't, and we got to be real. You know, we're Cleveland fans. Everybody probably didn't think we were going to win, so they probably didn't plug for that shit. So, all right, tell me about, you talk about you had some ventures coming up. You were starting something new. Tell me about that. Like some kind of show, YouTube show or something like that?
No, nothing like new. I started a YouTube channel. That's really it. Nothing really huge. It's been a few months since I put a video up, but I'm going to have one in the works here soon. So it's at Mark Schwab TV.
Okay, cool.
At Mark Schwab TV. Jump on board, follow. There's only a few things up there now, but more to come because I got some stuff and then I kind of hit pause on it as figuring out what I wanted to do with the channel and stuff like that. But yeah, but nothing like a huge announcement or anything. But I started a channel.
Okay, cool.
You got to be on YouTube, right? Because everyone's on YouTube.
Everyone is on YouTube, pretty much. I mean, it's
at Mark Schwab TV. If somebody wants to follow along, by all means, jump on board. If
somebody out there in the chat could drop the link in the chat for me, I'd look it up. But by the time I did, I'd probably accidentally close the window. We only got a couple more minutes here left anyway. So let's get into some silly questions and we'll get you out of here, brother. In your opinion, who's the most underrated sportscaster in this area?
Oh, gosh. You specifically said underrated, which means I got a little nuance here. I almost don't want to say a name because I'll shortchange it. I will say this. I'll give you a variant of this. I think the hardest job in the sportscasting city, in the city of Cleveland, is whoever is doing the 7 to midnight shift on 92.3 The Fan. 5 hours by yourself, most nights up against the Cavaliers or Indians. So half your audience isn't even listening to you. They're paying attention to the game. If I think of a name that's like an underrated sportscaster, I'll come with that. But I don't know who's jocking that shift now, but I know that kid's working his ass off, whoever he is.
Those shows used to be. I remember when Ken Carmen would do the midnight shift. I had what's his name? Kenny Kidd lives in North Olmsted too. If you didn't know that, he was on the show a little bit ago, and that was the time, man. My favorite on the radio at 92.3 has got to be Kenny and Lima in the morning.
They do a great job. They do a great. I know both those guys. I know Lima a little better because he's filled in for us here sometimes at 19. I know Kenny a little bit. We always enjoy talking. Anytime I only see him usually on the sidelines of a high school game, but we basically just neither one of us can get out hunting. That's our common gripe. You get out yet? Nope. You get out yet? Nope.
All right. Have you ever been in a Ferrari? What about a Lamborghini? And do you have a favorite car?
I don't think I've ever been a Ferrari. My dad was a huge car guy. Not been in a Lamborghini. Do I have a favorite car? My favorite car growing up, you will laugh at this. My favorite car growing up was a Volkswagen Beetle.
Nice.
I love but I pull a camper now. I love trucks, so I right now, if I could have anything, I'd take an F-150. But
okay.
My favorite car, probably a Volkswagen Beetle. I love Volkswagens. Anything in a stick shift is way too much fun to drive.
For sure. All right. What do you think of the Caribbean? Have you ever been to the Virgin Islands?
Where's the Virgin Islands? Are they in the Caribbean?
Yeah, it's like next. There's Puerto Rico, and then like a little bit over is the Virgin Islands.
I think I went on a cruise once that had to stop at like St. Thomas.
Okay, yeah,
that counts, right?
Yeah, that's close enough. You got to spend some time there, man. St. Thomas is amazing. St. John's even better. My God,
I think I did that one too. I did like one or two of those. It was been like 25 years.
You got to get out there, man. St. John, the Virgin Islands is my away spot. I don't like Florida for whatever reason. You were talking about shit about Florida. I'm with you on that. I don't like Florida. I don't care for Florida.
I like Florida. I'm just saying 7 weeks in Winter Haven isn't the tropical paradise that people think. But I like Florida. Florida's a good time.
All right, who in your opinion, who are the 3 most famous people you have met in your entire life?
Well, I guess one of them has to be LeBron, right?
Oh yeah.
I ran into Jesse Jackson in an airport bathroom. If it counts for, hey, excuse me, if that counts as meeting somebody. And I was in a post-game interview session, but there was like 5 of us in there with Michael Jordan. Does that count?
That's close enough. Shoot.
Close enough. All right. That's by the way, one of my favorite nights ever in this job. This is like 25. I can tell you, it was 2002, December of 02. It had to be December of 02. The same night I got to do in like a group interview. It wasn't one-on-one, but with Jim Tressel and Michael Jordan in the same night.
Nice.
And that's still one of my favorite nights ever. And yes, I was way more excited to meet Tress.
Heck yeah. I never met Tressel. I mean, if I was there, I never answered that question myself. I mean, because I've done, like, I've had people on the show, but like in person, it'd probably be Rick Harrison. I met him outside of the Marriott there at Key Tower, one of those walking home from the work from the rap, from Pawn Stars. I ran into at work one day. I work at the Federal Building. I work for the VA. So like at work one day, I didn't get to meet him, I guess, but Zadrunas Ilgauskas was sitting there, right? Well, because he had to go down there for some kind of immigration thing, and he thought he'd get there early, and beat the crowd. But no, you can't get in the building before 8 if you're the public. So poor starting Z, the center for the Cavs, 7'3", sitting there. Everybody in the whole security line is like, "Hey, look."
He stands out.
It's great. And Jose Ramirez came into the building too. They all got to go up there to I think it's like the 5th floor or some shit to get their visa stamped or whatever. It's kind of wild. All right. Beatles or Queen? Who would you pick out of those 2 bands?
Who?
Beatles or Queen?
I'll go Beatles.
Okay, cool. And what is something you have not done yet you are sure you are going to do by the time you're 60? And what is your advice for your future self?
Something I'm sure I will do by the time I'm 60. So I got 9 years. Drag a camper somewhere out west.
Okay, a little Rocky Mountain camping. I love it.
Something out there. Yeah, either that's the goal. We'll get there. What advice I would give to my future self? Don't turn into an angry old man. I don't know.
Right, just party on Wayne, party on Garth, right? Hell yeah, man.
Something like that. You got me still thinking of who's the most underrated Cleveland sportscaster. I don't know.
That's a good one, isn't it? Because there's some names out there. I mean, I like Spencer German. I like trying to think who else. A lot, and I want to. If any of these guys ever watching or listening, I don't want to take them to take this the wrong way. But there's so many of them that are good that I just don't know them yet because their personality isn't like overwhelming. You know what I mean? Like Ken Carmen, Ken Carmen because his personality takes over a room. The guy's just a room presence. But some of the other guys, until they get their presence, it's kind of hard to stand out. It's so no offense to those guys, but there's some good ones. 92.3. I really do. I like this station, man. It's a good station.
It's a good station. Spencer's a hard worker. Him and another guy. I think they're both Spencers actually. I always see him when I'm at Cavs games. They're always recording stuff kind of beforehand. They get in the media room and they set this up. And they're doing. And I can just you just see guys. Obviously I came from radio, so anytime I see radio guys seemingly just always put in the work, I always appreciate that.
Now, when you went to radio to TV, was that a transition for you? Was it seamless? What was the major thing for you?
It was far from seamless. It was a massive pain in the hind parts. And obviously to get into TV, get into broadcasting, when you apply for a job, nobody gives a rip about your resume, your actual sheet of paper. Nobody cares. You have to send it. You got to send a cover letter. Nobody cares. Here's the tape, right? Well, I didn't have a tape. How do you send the tape to a news director to get a job when you're on the radio? You're not on TV. It took me like 2 to 3 years to even get a tape together. And I was trying everything. It might have taken me 3-4 years. I mean, it was a long process. I'll give you the break. What finally got me the tape was, remember the old All Bets Are Off?
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Drennan's show on Sports Time Ohio. Well, I mean, that show was like a radio talk show it was just on TV. But Bruce had me down. He wanted me to, join him on the show for whatever. And I sidekicked with him, or he had me as a guest, co-anchor, co-host for like an hour, sat in the show for an hour. But the powers that be there kind of liked me, and they said, "Hey, can you help us? Can you be a fill-in guy?" And I said, "Yeah, that's great," because I've been trying to do TV. Well, even though that was like a radio show on TV, which is, if you watch, that's completely different than what I do here at 19 or what, Nick does at 3 or whatever. That's different than what we do. But I was able to at least play it off enough that I was able to cut together a demo tape. And here at 19, when we were still in the action news world, they look at like freelancers and fill-ins or whatever. And so I put together a tape from that, and that's got me a freelance opportunity here at 19. And then they had an opening after a year and a half of that, and I got hired. But no, I was trying to. I remember one time I sat down, I emailed every single TV station from like Columbus to Youngstown to Toledo and everywhere in between. You know, hey, my name is Mark Schwab. I work at News Radio WTMO. I don't know if you listened. It was a big radio station, whatever. But hey, I'm trying to get into TV. If you guys ever need any kind of, anything, let me know. And I think I emailed like 15, 20 sports departments across like multiple TV markets. I got one email back. It was from a guy in Mansfield. They got a little TV station down there called WMFD. He emailed me back. He said, hey, I'm interested if you want to help us cover high school football. They did a high school basketball. They did a high school basketball show. And that was actually my first kind of TV gig.
Okay.
It was every Friday night in the dead of winter. I would drive 70 minutes from where I lived in Rocky River at the time to this TV station in Mansfield, go cover a couple high school basketball games, drive 70 minutes back. That was no fun in the weather with snow and everything. But I did get a tape together for that, but that tape never got me a job. But it was my first kind of actual working a little bit out of a TV station. But that's the kind of stuff you do. Like, I'm going to send off about 40 emails today and basically beg and grovel and see if anybody needs me. And I'll be damned. One guy needed me. Like, yeah.
That's the exact same way this YouTube thing is. I'll send out, because I've had famous people on the show, man. I've had Ricky Williams, Right Said Fred, Tommy Chong, Andy Dick, all kinds of shouts out to Andy Dick. Hope you're getting ready better from your overdose or whatever. I mean, we got to be real about Andy Dick. He's probably should have been dead 10 years ago, but whatever. And also shouts out to Ben Richardson for making the Olympics. A curler he was here in Cleveland for a little bit, but dude, I sent off so many emails, and 1 out of 100 maybe even responds. You know what I mean? It's such a grind. It's such a ridiculous grind. I got a couple random questions I just thought of. Now, sure. Do they make you wear makeup? Do you have to wear makeup? What's the deal with the makeup?
I haven't worn it in years, as you can probably tell. You're supposed to, because the studio lights like reveal everything. Like we got rooms down the hall that you go on, like, and you can turn these lights on. You look in the mirror, and dude, it is terrifying. But for some reason, the set we've had a few years ago, and just where I'm standing and where the relation as far as the camera is to me and the lighting, I realized I was putting it on, and I didn't even notice. So I haven't worn it in years. But you're supposed to, and whenever we get a new set or change lighting, I'll probably have to go back to it. But yeah, I'm supposed to, but right now, don't.
Now, are you guys allowed to grow beards? Is that in your contract? What's the deal with facial hair? I never seen anybody on TV with facial hair. They are all clean shaven.
I don't have anything in my contract against it. I never asked. We got one or two guys. I think we got a guy here with a beard. Slauson grew a beard. Jeff Slauson. So I don't know. I think you're allowed if as long as it doesn't look like garbage. I grew a beard one time, like 3-4 years ago. I had to have hip surgery. I was out for a month, and I'm like, I can either shave my head completely or grow a beard. I'm going to do one or the other. I should have gone for the shave my head because I'm follically challenged here.
It's another thing we got in common, buddy. I think we're twins, man. We got so many.
I kind of want to shave it all off, but with this job, I don't know. It might look like crap, and then I'm on TV looking. So I'm like, all right, I should have done it then because I had a month to grow it back. But instead, I grew a beard, and it was all right. It's okay. I don't know. So I shaved it when I came back to work.
We got actually a question from the chat. Shandog says, I'm in Patriot Country. We had sports announcer Bob Lobel from Boston. Have you ever heard of him?
I have not. Sorry.
Yeah, I haven't either. I haven't. Well, isn't it weird though? I mean, like every market, everybody always thinks their guys are the best, but like I don't know anybody in like St. Louis or Cincinnati or any sportscasters. I mean, unless they're national, you don't know them. You know what I mean? It's very regional.
It's pretty much. Although there are guys that are famous voices of teams. Well, I guess I would know Cincinnati because I was down there. Marty Brenneman was like their version of Tom Hamilton. I guess you're right. Like off the top of my head, I don't know who is the radio announcer of the Knicks, and I don't even know who is the radio announcer of the Yankees now that Sterling hung it up.
Yeah, the only time I went to Yankee Stadium was 2008, and that was that one guy's last year. The now batting number 6.
The famous PA guy.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
99. He died like the year after I was
I think
there.
his name was it Bob Shepard?
I think that's it.
I think that's it. Yeah, he was a legend there. Great pipes, great guy. I never made it to the old Yankee Stadium. I was at the new one for the playoff series in 17, but I never made it to the old one.
The Bronx is man, that's a dump, huh? God damn, that place is chill.
There's places like that where you're like going through places and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, there's a facility. I always think of for some reason, this is the dumbest place to keep in mind for that. The Brewers, they trained at a place called Maryvale. I think they still do. And I was always told, if you're going to go, try to get out before the sun goes down. Okay.
Some downtowns are like
Bob Uecker. I met Bob Uecker there.
The Uke. Nice. Yeah, man, there's an announcer everybody knows. I mean, if I was to take baseball announcers off the top of my head, I think Ernie Harwell was one up in Detroit. He was always memorable.
He was, I'll tell you what, he was so cool. He was the visiting radio booth was the booth next to us. When I was at WTAM, we had our own booth because we did a pre and post game show there. And so we just stayed in our booth. We didn't go to the main press box area. And the visiting radio booth was right next to us. And Harwell he'd be in there calling games. You'd see him in the hallway. Super nice guy. There's so many of those dudes, not so many. Well, so many I wanted to, but there's only a couple I actually went up to and just say hi to. Marty Brenneman, who I mentioned to the Reds, Ernie Harwell. I think those are like the only two where I'd be like, can I just say hi? You know, because he was fantastic. I think they named it. They did name it. I think it is still named the Ernie Harwell visiting radio booth up there.
Oh, wow. Nice.
There's a plaque on the door. I believe it's still called that.
Now, if Siciliano and Nate Segura were like, all right, I'm done announcing this bullshit team, would you take the announcing job for the Browns?
I mean, if an NFL team offers you the play-by-play gig, you got to take it, right? I love doing play-by-play. It's actually why I got into this. I got into this to do play-by-play. I've been able to start doing some games again on the Rock Entertainment Sports Network lately. Absolutely. It's play-by-play. I got into this to do that. Absolutely, I would take it. You'd be a fool to turn down an NFL gig.
100%. Well, I mean, what is your take on like where the whole industry is going? I mean, do you think the four-letter network and all those guys are still going to be around? I mean, you think TV stations will still be around? I mean, it's no secret, YouTube and all that. There's a lot of people just jumping ship because it's easier to do YouTube, that kind of stuff. But like 5-10 years, I mean, do you think you're going to be doing network TV for the rest of your life? Do you think? I mean, you're probably. I wouldn't imagine next 10 years, but what do you think?
So there's a lot of people wondering in like local news, we're a CBS. Will CBS at some point say, hey, we're not going to do the local affiliate thing anymore because they have Paramount, they stream everything. We can get our programming out that way, and we're going to separate. We haven't heard anything like that's going to happen with us in Cleveland or anywhere, but I do know in Atlanta, we have a station down there, our company, and they were the CBS, and CBS switched to another station there. So they are without an affiliate right now, and I think they're just going to stay that way. So they do a lot of local programming. They still kept their sports department. They actually added to it because they have a lot more programming to do. So I don't know. I guess that's a possibility. I don't know when that would be, but if there were like a next like shakeup to Channel 19, 3, 5, 8, the local shops in every market, it would be the networks pulling away from them to put their content out online. Whether or not they'll actually do it, I don't know. I don't know if it's worth their while because, I mean, they're streaming and that stuff now, but they still feel the need to put it on public airwaves.
Well, I mean, in my opinion, as long as you still got, and I know this is, your audience is probably a little older, it is what it is, but as long as you still got, the boomers are still, under 90.
Yeah.
There's so many people in that age bracket. I mean, I think network TV will still be at least around for another 10, 15, 20 years. I mean,
I don't think anything there is imminent, So
there we got some shouts. He said, Mark, thank you for doing the interview. Yeah, buddy, man, you have to come up again. I'm probably seeing the car line. We drop the kid off here soon. That's great, man. Heck yeah.
That's wild. You're on Maple Ridge. Yeah, I'm on that street every day.
What do you think about the new school they're building over there? You think that's a good idea or what? It's a little wild over there.
We're in a local politics. I think we voted for that one. North Olmsted had the hardest time getting the levy through. We finally got that one to get a new building. I mean, their buildings are old, right?
They all
Most
built
a lot
after
of
the
public
war.
schools in a lot of suburbs they're pretty old. So, I mean, it was time. It was time. They'll build it. It's a couple of years from now. It'll go. So
Yeah, I think this is last year for Maple School. And I wonder what they're gonna do with the
Two
old
left.
ones, man.
There's 2 left. There's this year and next year.
Okay. I'm hoping they don't. I mean, I don't know. I'd like to see them turn into a park, but I mean, we already got a bunch of parks. But I mean, I don't want to see them turn it into, because I know over there down by Butternut Ridge, they're talking about tearing down some historical houses and building these stupid, $1,500 a month apartments or whatever. And we don't need all that. We need affordable places like Brendan Lane and shit like that. But I don't know, man. But I'd like to thank Mr. Mark Schwab, Schwab in the lobby, for coming out. We have to do this again, brother. We have to do this again. We're very close, and we got a good rapport here, I think.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Are you doing the news? When's the next time we're seeing you on TV?
10:52 tonight on WUAB channel 43, and then 11:26, I think, on channel 19.
All right, so watch channel 19 or channel 43 news 11:52 tonight. Schwab will go like this to acknowledge everybody who watched the show at this time, and we'll have a good time with it, right?
I'm still trying to decide on this tie. What do you guys think?
Is that I like it. It's a
right.
spotlight's coming out.
This is one of these I pull out like once a year because I haven't decided if I like it or not. So, yeah, it is. It was
Outstanding, brother. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Joe.
All right, we'll talk to you guys later. We'll see you on Monday when Andrew Deneen, he's a British composer, is going to be on the show at 1:00 Eastern. But I might not. I'm coming back from Chicago, so I might have to do it in the car. But we'll, ask him
what he thinks of the new North Olmsted School building.
I will. I'll take pictures and show it right to him on the thing. All right, Mark. We'll talk to you guys later.
See ya.